in the fleet room, and this is the summit on the last day about social and economic viability. It's an exceptional afternoon of people meeting about solutions in their community. And so we just started presenting. This is the first group that is presenting their solutions for their neighborhood.
But I think what was so interesting was the connection that we're making to the idea that green is also about respecting the culture of a place and the people themselves, and bringing that greenness to that culture, and also then using that to grow the health of the community, not only spiritually and culturally, but intellectually and physically.
What we wanted to focus on was what exists already in the Village Bottom. How do we expand that from there and grow?
We are the wealth of humanity, you know, and it's how we create culture and express it that we're able to truly express what it means to be human.
I'm a New Orleans Hurricane Katrina survivor. So I spent some time down in New Orleans, and one thing we talk about all the time in Black Dot is that this area is just like New Orleans, a historical community, a historical place, and we want to preserve that.
Trying to detoxify this whole land area for farming, just to get the land corrected. We're initiating less driving and more walking and biking.
I know that, you know, they talked a lot about, like, they wanted to promote fitness and, like, organic, you know, and that's, you know, we made an area for that as well.
We want this grocery store to feel like an extension of your kitchen. We want you to be able to come into your kitchen, choose the vegetables or the produce that you would like, and take them home and prepare them, or even have us prepare them for you. We also want to educate people on the uses of whole foods, soul foods, and superfoods.
You know, because the last thing we need is more pollution down there, more cars, and more confusion. So we encourage people to walk. And one thing we said is make it novel. You know, wow, that's a novelty down there. You know, the trolley car comes in, the rented bikes, the walking, the horse carriages that go through, things of that nature. Something different for people to see and experience.
I was blown away by the people. The intellectual capacity and the knowledge and the experience. I've worked for 40 years in low-income communities, and I don't think I've seen so many people of talent in one place in my life.
Well, let me tell you my attachment to the organization first. 9 months ago, I was working for companies that build approach light systems for runways. Vahid told me about what was going on here in the bottoms, and I quit my job and drove out here. Actually, I'm actually living my dream. I was real good at what I was doing. I just want to say that we all have an opportunity to take advantage of this collective dreaming and this collective vision that has brought us all to this room together.
And I remember when we just had one house, and we used to throw a little farmer's market every Sunday and bring out a little old stage and get our little amplifiers and guitars up there and try to generate people coming down there. But this was before there was any development. And Marcel used to sit and tell me, nah, man, I'm going to have this over here, and then we're going to do this. And, you know, a lot of people say that. I'm like, man, yeah, all right, brother, just keep beating on that drum and keep going. And like I said, the effort and the blood, sweat, and tears that he put into developing this and to creating an environment where learning can take place. And I honor him for that.
Well, there was a lot of talk about what needs to happen there to sustain the culture. There needs to be more thoughtful planning as to how we're going to sustain the people and the culture, and also how we'll build that economy there, because it's not doing so well. So I'm thinking between now and then, we can put into play some of the ideas that came out of this charrette, and maybe start to build the little storefronts and have more vitality on that Pine Street plan.
Bottoms Butts is an idea of having local money. How do we retain resources in our community. You know, we could generate our own money and have it used for services within that community.
Hopefully starting this farmers market where people can start producing and selling their own products in the area to start building that economic sustainable development in the community.
One of the main things that we want to do is to create a system where not only you can learn a skill, but also you can move into industry right here. You know, whether that's developing your own small business, whether that means transitioning into an industry that's already there.
That's what usually happens when I grab the mic.
I'd like to see, after seeing some of the rap talent that's in there, I'd like to see the artwork and the art performance of that community brought to this conference. And maybe even the conference brought to the Bottoms, you know, for a great event, you know, and fundraiser that would be for West Coast Green and for the Bottoms.
Just about everybody that's coming up here to speak and the people that you see in the room are mostly artists, you know, visionaries.
Oakland is filled with a lot of young geniuses and a lot of music. And we wanted to also have like an amphitheater and a historical music vibe to the whole area. This is basically really be used in a few different ways, but that would be a huge part of it. The music of West Oakland and the stories of West Oakland.
So I think one of the really unique things is that very few times do professionals have an opportunity to get engaged deeply with residents of an area who they are then told to respect and listen to, and then become the translator of their dreams into a solution that they then work together to agree on.
Eco City Builders, our nonprofit role is sort of helping to connect the talents and the resources, because there's talents and resources on both sides. Putting these things together and sitting at the tables together really helps us move the vision forward. It's like, it's inspiring, but it's also just practical. It helps.
What we said, 100% collaboration, equality. You might have the goods and the services, but bring people in that have the experience and the family and the roots in that community so that we can have that balance, so that everybody can eat. You know, one of the great things that one of my partners here said is everybody needs to win. Why can't everybody win? And this is what we want to develop here.
One of the things that we were thinking that it might be possible to actually, as a historical district, block off the streets, widen the streets, make it a pedestrian thoroughfare where people can actually get to know each other and the communities.
One thing that was mentioned here about technology, I think that's an important thing to remember, that nature is the greatest technology there is, and I think we're going all back to that.
The Home Depot Foundation is interested in supporting things like what we just saw with the Charrette process, is that it's very important to be able to provide support to help organizations like Village Bottoms to be able to improve their neighborhoods and improve their communities through a comprehensive approach. And that whole process that we just went through does that for them.
West Coast Green, there is no conference in the United States or Canada that I've been to that has been willing to take the risk of bringing a community into the conference and then opening up the opportunity, like you'd sign up for a seminar, for people to volunteer to come in. And what amazes me is that we probably had 60, 70 people from the conference who chose to spend 3.5 hours not going to educate themselves, but actually felt the importance of being educated through helping someone else.
Black folks, we can't pretend that we live in a vacuum. We can't pretend that we're in some planet where all these bad things didn't happen to black folks, you know, and I think that's part of the cultural sustainability piece. We always got to push that conversation to include cultural sustainability as we begin to talk about green, and green becomes the new black. You know what I'm saying? Everything always becomes the new black, but black will still be black. You know, so green without black is something that I don't even want to imagine, and I'm sure that anybody that's really serious about being green wouldn't want to see green without black. Thank you for coming out today.